Let's land the plane on Genesis 1:1. Today, I want to talk about land. Hi, everyone. This is your favorite Bible nerd, R.A. Sweeney, with Language of Life for Little Learners. Today, I want to talk about the idea of land in the Bible. So we've kind of been working through Genesis 1 and the vocabulary there. And last week we had the heavens, and today the juxtaposition is the land. And so in Hebrew, the word for land, and there's a few different words for land, but the one that we see here is Eretz. So if you want to say it with me, Eretz means land. And the way that we see land, just like with heavens, I was saying that heavens can mean like the sky, it can mean the spiritual place where God lives. It's got a few different ways that the word gets used. We see the same thing here of it can mean different things. And so Eretz, in this context, it's referring to the land being kind of the down here. So we said that the Shamayim, the heavens, is the water up there. The land is the hard stuff down here. It's the earth is how we normally translate it. And I think that's a fair translation. Like it's referring to the planet that we live on, probably. There's some different ways that people are interpreting, like maybe all of space is what God means by the Eretz and things like that. Different ways people are interpreting that. But for the most part, we interpret it as the planet that we live on is Eretz. And so we see that used in a lot of different ways. And I think of like in the flood narrative with Noah, it says that the waters covered the land. And I think we're meant to see it as that sort of cosmic, the whole planet, everything, the whole land is covered by water. And so we do see that a lot. It's very, very common for the word Eretz to mean the planet that we live on as a whole. All the land on earth sort of deal. But it's also used to describe like places. So like when, right now I'm working through Genesis, and so I see it all the time. Like people are going down to the land of Egypt. Pharaoh gives Joseph's family the best land in Egypt, or the best of the land, like the best things of the whole land of Egypt. And so just like I could say, like we could say like the land of whatever to describe a region, that's also the same in Hebrew, which makes some of our translation of some of those things a little bit tricky because it is a little ambiguous. So did Noah's flood all the planet because it says it flooded all the land, or is it saying all of that region because the land could also mean that region? And I think we are meant to look at it as this whole thing, not just a region. But it's the word could mean different things. So we've got the whole planet, we've got regions, countries, nations, those sorts of things are described as the land. But then also the ground can be a way that this is used. So I mentioned there's different words for land, and I don't think there's necessarily different words for land, but like the ground has different words. So there's words for like dirt and things like that. But we do see, like when people bow down, it says they bow their faces toward the land, is how it's normally used. Sometimes you might get it a little bit different, but the land can be the whole planet. It can be, specific regions, nations, those sorts of things, or it could just be the ground that you're standing on. Are all different ways that the land is used, and I think we're really meant to see all of that as kind of the same thing, which is hard for us because we wouldn't think of it like that in our English language. But in the Hebrew mind, when you see all of these ideas have the same word, that means they're thinking of them somehow related. And so when we start reading the Bible, I think we're meant to say, like, I need to be looking at the thing in front of me and the region and the whole planet, all with sort of the same context. So how am I bringing all of those together? And I don't think there's a great answer that anybody's really come up with yet of like, let's translate that whole idea into a modern American English context. But as we're reading those, we should be thinking about those. I'm like, okay, like which word or which meaning in our language are they talking about, and how do I want to bring these ideas together? And just like I mentioned last week, that the heavens in Greek use just the name of their sky deity, Uranos. The Greek does the same thing with land. So the translation into Greek for the Hebrew word Eretz is it's coming from Gaia, the earth goddess, in the Greek understanding of things. And again, I'm not saying that she's real. I'm not saying the Bible's saying she's real, but it's using that terminology to say, you guys call this thing that we stand on Gaia, the earth deity. We'll just call it that for the sake of communicating. It's not actually a deity, but we'll just call it that because that's what you call it, and I'm trying to communicate with you. And so we do see that as we get into the Greek, that idea does get shifted into that Greek kind of worldview, not just having a one-for-one word translation. It's actually converting the language into a different worldview. So that's really the idea of land. It's the whole planet that we live on, the down here space. It's everything that isn't, the all of existence is separated into the spiritual part where God lives, and then the more material planet that we live on. And so we're supposed to see that juxtaposition as things get separated out into the heavens, God's space, the land, our space, the planet that we live on, different regions, the ground that I'm standing on or right in front of me. All those ideas are kind of what we think of when we talk about the land. So that's what I have to talk about for this week. Hope it was a blessing. I'm so grateful to have you guys here on Language of Life for Little Learners, and we will see you next time. Thanks, everyone.